Today we are going to read a story from Acts, and I'm going to summarize it for y'all because it is one of the big ones, but it is Acts 1 through 9 if you want to have a grown-up to follow along or follow up with you, okay? So, at this time, Paul was doing a lot of traveling. He was talking to a lot of the Jewish people about Jesus because a lot of them didn't know that their Messiah had been here yet. And he wanted to make sure that he shared that good news with everyone. So Paul and his friend Silas were traveling to many, many cities to talk about Jesus. Every time they went to a new city, they would always go to the synagogue, which is like the church or other place of worship for the Jewish people. Paul would speak to the Jews about Jesus, and sometimes they would even argue. Some people really liked what Paul had to say about Jesus. Even Greeks and the different women in charge were impressed with the different things that Paul had to say. But some of the Jewish leaders were not happy. And with the Jewish leaders that weren't happy, though, they got some of their friends together and they started talking about what they should do about it. And they decided that they need to arrest Paul and Silas. It was pretty tricky. They couldn't find Paul and Silas because they were, just kind of poor travelers going around, and they were staying with a friend. And at this time, their friend was Jason. They were staying with their friend Jason at this time. Ooh, talked in a circle. They couldn't find Paul and Silas there. They knew that they were staying there, but they had already left. So they ended up grabbing Jason and they took him to the police, saying there are people that have come to our town. They're saying all these crazy things and they're making trouble. And this guy, he had him over for dinner. And the police were like, okay, what kind of trouble is going on here? They say that there is a king besides Caesar, and his name is Jesus. And the police were pretty concerned when they heard that, because everyone knew that Caesar was the king, and you couldn't have another king at this time, right? You could only have one ruler. They didn't understand. They were like, okay, we have to listen to Caesar. We have to do everything Caesar says. But Jesus was a different kind of king, wasn't he? Yeah, he was the Messiah. So he was the king, and he was the king of heaven and earth. So the big king, not just of this little city, but of everything. So they put Jason in jail and ended up finding Paul and Silas, and they put them in jail too. So luckily, they had some more friends in the area, and they were able to pay some money to get them out of the jail. And Paul and Silas ran away to another city, and their friends kind of helped them escape. Thank goodness, because they didn't just go home and just give up at that time. They went to that next city and they tried again, and they kept sharing that message and sharing that good news. I think that was pretty darn inspirational. So I have some things that I thought we should think about today. And if you have the ability to print this, I have included a picture. It is in our Facebook group. It's in our Google Classroom. So it is in PDF or in a JPEG. So it's in an image or a worksheet style. And it says, I am. And I want you to fill in this word here, what you are. So are you creative? Are you sporty and active? Are you sassy? Are you funny? Whatever words you are, right here, pick one great word. And it says, be kind to yourself and remember to say, I am thankful for me just the way I am. So I colored 1, 2, and I said, I am loving because I love you all so much. So if you don't have a copy yet, print one out if you can. If you are having trouble printing some of these things, let me know and I will get you a physical copy to you, to your home, to your family, okay? Okay, so while we color, I had some questions that I think we should just think about. And these might be something that you want to talk with your parents about too, and maybe some of your brothers and sisters, and just think about some of these different ideas, okay? I wonder if I am ever wrong about somebody. Have you ever met someone and you get an idea in your brain about what they are like and if you like them or not? So that's called your first impression. Have you ever had a first impression be wrong? Maybe you met someone and you're like, oh, they're really nice. And then they turned out to be kind of a stinky person. Or you didn't like someone and you're like, I don't think I want to be their friend. And it turns out that they are really fun. So we can learn a lot about people by not jumping to conclusions and learning about them. All right. I wonder if I ever get mad at people who think differently about Jesus than I do. So, do you ever get mad at people for thinking differently from you? Like if someone doesn't like the same thing that you do, have you ever found yourself getting really frustrated? You're like, no, it's really cool. Maybe it's a favorite game. We've heard that one in our room. Or a story. We've heard that one in our room. Well, at this time, it was really tough to tell people about Jesus because he had just happened and people were like, I don't know about that. And they didn't have that faith built in their hearts yet. Wonder how that made them feel. How maybe Paul felt trying to talk people over and over and over again. And sometimes having to go to jail for it. All right, one more. I wonder if people ever get mad at me for the friends that I have. Have you ever been friends with someone that made someone else really upset? Sometimes it can happen that we have maybe two best friends, and that can be really tricky for some people. Or maybe one of your friends you know has some really great qualities and you love them so much, but they do naughty things sometimes. And people are like, oh, that troublemaker, you shouldn't be friends with them. That gets tricky, right? To see the good parts about people and also the bad parts about people. So in our story, Jason got in trouble because he was friends with Paul and Silas. People were mad at Jason because they ate dinner at his house. Can you see why they were mad at him? They felt like Jason was part of the rule breaking, that Jason was against Caesar, who was the king, and you couldn't argue with the king or the rulers at this time. All right, those are your big thoughts for this whole week. So spend some time on them. And for now, I would love for you to pray with me. All right, here we go. Dear God, you love us just as we are, no matter what. You can use us to do wonderful things. Please help me stay thankful for exactly who I am and what I can do. Help us be good helpers to you. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you all so much. Bye-bye.